war started when no one expected it. Commander Jace Walker had been a junior tactical officer just a week ago. He had never sat in the captain's chair. He had never commanded a ship. And yet, today, he stood on the bridge of the Starlance, a battlecruiser made of alien technology far beyond human understanding. The only reason he was here was because everyone else was dead. It all began with a sudden ambush. The Earth Alliance ship he had been stationed on was escorting diplomats when enemy ships, unknown, fast, and brutal, opened fire. Within minutes, the main crew, including the captain, were either dead or offline in stasis due to strange bioweapons. Jace had barely survived. As he floated in an escape pod, another vessel, sleek and dark, like a shark swimming through space, had picked him up. It wasn't a human ship. He expected chains, he expected interrogation, but what greeted him was something else, a crew of warrior women. All aliens, all tall, elegant, and wearing armor that shimmered like stars. Their leader stepped forward, towering over him. "We require a human," she said, her voice deep and commanding. "By our ancient pact, the Starlands cannot fight without a bonded human commander. You are now that human." Jace blinked, unsure if he was hallucinating. Wait, what? They didn't wait for him to process. The warrior women led him through crystal halls and alien machinery humming with strange energy. Some of them looked at him with cold expressions, others with open curiosity. He felt small, weak, unready. But war didn't wait. Suddenly, alarms echoed through the ship. A holographic display showed multiple enemy vessels closing in. The alien women turned to him. "We need your command, human." Jace's heart pounded. He had never ordered even a drone squad before, but something inside him refused to run. "Bring up targeting. Prepare weapons. Let's show them what a human can do." One of the warriors smirked. "Maybe you're not useless after all." Jace sat in the glowing captain's seat. The warship responded to his touch like it had been waiting for him all along. Outside, space lit up with explosions. And so, a young human officer became commander of a warship with the galaxy's deadliest and most beautiful alien warriors. But this was only the beginning. He had no idea what secrets the ship held, or what it meant to truly bond with the crew. Jace sat in the glowing captain's chair, his knuckles white as he gripped the armrests. The Starlance hummed beneath him, alive with alien energy. The battle outside was over. For now, 3 enemy ships were destroyed. 1 fled, but Jace had barely breathed since it all began. The crew stood around him, tall, silent, watching. Then the lead warrior stepped forward. She was nearly 8 feet tall, with glowing silver skin, braided dark blue hair, and piercing, violet eyes. Her name was Jaraka. She had a scar across her left cheek, and her armor shimmered as if forged from stardust. "You survived your first engagement," she said. "Now we begin the bonding ritual." Jace blinked. "The what?" Jaraka didn't smile. "A human commander must connect with each member of the crew. Our minds must sync, our bodies must align, or this ship will never obey you fully." Jace swallowed hard. "Wait, like mentally? Or physically?" Another warrior, younger and more playful, giggled from behind Jaraka. Her skin was sky blue and she leaned against a wall with her arms crossed. "Both," she said. "It's tradition." Jace stood up. "No one mentioned this." Jaraka's voice was firm. "You're standing on a ship that's older than your entire planet's space program. You were chosen by its core. We must obey, and so must you." The words hit hard. He was still trying to make sense of how he even got here. He wanted to say no, but he also knew they'd be dead if not for this warship's sudden activation under his command. Jaraka stepped closer. "We begin tonight." Later in the commander's quarters, Jace's new quarters were unlike anything he'd ever seen. The room was made of smooth black crystal. It felt alive, walls pulsing faintly with light. He sat on the edge of a bed that looked like it grew from the floor. A soft knock echoed. Then the door opened. It was Jaraka. She had removed her armor, now wearing a robe that shimmered like flowing starlight. Her expression was serious. "Remove your shirt," she said calmly. Jace choked on air. "Excuse me?" "It is not mating, human. The ship responds to bioenergy and emotional state. Skin contact allows the sync. If you lie, the ship rejects you. If you feel fear, the sync breaks." He slowly peeled his shirt off, still unsure. "I'm not used to this kind of bonding." Jaraka stepped forward, placing a warm hand on his bare chest. Her eyes glowed for a moment. "You are scared, but you are honest. That's enough." Suddenly the room lit up. A strange glow surrounded them. The Starlance was responding. Jace felt a rush of heat through his body, not pain, but connection. He saw flashes, Jaraka's memories, her past, her pain. She had lost her twin in the last war. She had sworn never to bond again. Then, the glow faded. Jaraka pulled back and nodded. "It is done. The ship now sees you as more than a visitor." She turned to leave, then paused. "You may not be strong," she said, "but you carry strength." Bridge, the me. Next day, Jay stood in the command seat once more. The warrior women were at their posts, but now they looked at him differently. Less like an outsider, more like something else. Jaraka sat beside him in the tactical seat. Next comes Riala. She's the youngest. Wild. Dangerous. If you can't bond with her, this will all fall apart. Jace looked up as the sky-blue alien girl entered the bridge, grinning. "Oh, great," he muttered. The girl winked at him. "Your turn, Captain." And Jace had no idea what kind of chaos she was about to bring into his life. But he knew one thing for sure. There was no going back now. Riala entered the chamber like a storm of energy. Her long sky-blue hair bounced behind her. Her deep green eyes shimmered with mischief. She wore a tighter version of the ship's uniform, customized, sleeveless, with glowing patterns tracing across her skin like living tattoos. Jace stared as she walked in. She didn't walk, actually. She danced, like the floor was music and she was the beat. "You're the new captain?" she asked, placing her hands on her hips. "Jaraka bonded with you, that's a surprise. She's colder than a comet's core." Jace tried to stay calm. "It was intense." Riala leaned forward. "Well, I'm not cold, and I don't like rules." Jaraka stood in the corner, watching. "Be careful, Jace. She tests everyone." Riala waved her hand dismissively. "Relax, Commander. This isn't a test. It's a game." She stepped closer. Too close. "Bonding is about trust," she said. "But I prefer fun. Let's see how you handle that." Training hall. 10 minutes later. Jace didn't understand how he ended up here, barefoot on glowing tiles, facing Riala, in some kind of mock combat challenge. "I thought bonding was mental," he said. "It is," Riala grinned. "But I like to move while I connect. Dodge me, Captain." "Wait, what?" She rushed forward. Jace barely dodged her swinging leg. She wasn't trying to hurt him, but she was fast, too fast. Every movement came with a laugh, like she was enjoying the way he stumbled. "Your heart rate's up," she said playfully. "The ship's sensors are reading it." He rolled out of the way and landed flat on his back. She stood over him, giggling. "You're terrible at this," he groaned. "I wasn't trained to wrestle aliens." She knelt beside him and placed a hand on his chest. "Exactly. You weren't trained, but you're trying anyway. That's rare." Her expression softened. Suddenly, the walls of the training hall pulsed with soft blue light. Jace felt it again, that warmth from the ship. That strange connection. Memories flooded his mind, not his own. Riala, younger, alone on a war-torn world, laughing in public to hide tears in private. She had never bonded, never trusted anyone, until now. "Why are you showing me this?" he asked. "Because you didn't give up," she whispered. "That's all I needed." The glow faded. Riala pulled her hand away. She looked serious now. I tease because it's easier than being afraid, but maybe you're worth the risk. She stood and offered him her hand. He took it. For the first time, she didn't grin. She simply nodded and said, "We're synced." Bridge. Later, Zaraka sat beside Jace once again. "She accepted you," she said. "You earned her respect." "Barely," Jace replied, rubbing his shoulder. "I think she tried to break my ribs." Zaraka smirked. "That's her way of saying she likes you." "Wonderful," Jace muttered, but the bridge suddenly darkened. Red lights pulsed on the walls. One of the crew shouted, "Incoming vessel, massive energy signature." Zaraka's expression turned to stone. "That's not one of ours." Jace stood. "Battle stations." Then he saw it on the display, a gigantic warship covered in dark metal and spikes. "Who are they?" Jace asked. Zaraka's voice was quiet. "The collectors, and they don't take prisoners." Alarms blared across the starlinks. Jace stood frozen as the massive enemy ship appeared on the view screen. It looked like a floating fortress made of jagged black metal. Dozens of glowing red eyes lined its surface. Spikes and rotating drills lined its hull like it had been built to tear other ships apart. The crew around him moved quickly, snapping to battle stations. Zaraka's voice cut through the chaos. "Brace for impact. That ship belongs to the collectors." Jace narrowed his eyes. "Who are they?" Zaraka's tone was cold. "Raiders, slavers, scavengers. They destroy planets, steal technology, and kidnap the survivors. They've tried to capture this ship for years." Jace swallowed. "And now they're here." Riala appeared beside him, serious for once. "They want the starlinks. But if they find out a human is in command, they'll want you too." The ship trembled as a warning shot passed close. "They're testing us," Zaraka said. "They want to see if we'll run." Jace looked around. The alien women waited for his command. He clenched his fists. "We're not running," he said. "Raise shields, arm weapons. Let's give them a reason to regret showing up." Battle begins. Outer space. The stars outside lit up with flashing lights. The starlinks moved like no human ship ever could. It twisted and darted between enemy blasts, its hull glowing with energy as Jace guided it through his neural connection. But the collector ship was enormous and heavily armed. "They've launched boarding pods," Riala shouted. "They're trying to latch onto the hull." "Intercept them," Jace ordered. "Target the incoming pods." Warrior women fired from glowing consoles. Bright streaks of plasma fire lit the darkness. Some pods exploded midair, but 2 made contact. "They're breaching the lower deck," someone screamed. "Send a defense team," Jace shouted. Zaraka nodded and stood. "I'll go." Jace looked at her. "You're second in command. Shouldn't you stay?" Zaraka's eyes gleamed. "My blade belongs where the fight is." Then she was gone. Lower deck. Battle inside smoke and fire filled the lower corridor of the starlinks. Strange robotic warriors spilled out of the breach pods. They had twisted limbs, glowing red visors, and electric whips for arms. Zaraka led a team of armored alien women down the hallway. She moved like lightning, slicing one invader cleanly in half. One warrior fell. Zaraka caught her before she hit the ground, rage building in her eyes. "No mercy," she growled. Elsewhere in the command chamber, Jace saw the crew start to panic. The ship trembled again. He gritted his teeth. "I need full power to the main cannon. Let's aim right at their core." "But, Captain," said Riala, "that will drain our shields." "If we don't shoot first," Jace said, "we won't get a second chance." Final strike. Everything slowed. The bridge darkened as energy was rerouted. Lights flickered. The main cannon charged, humming louder and louder. On the view screen, the collector ship powered up its own giant cannon. It was now or never. "Fire!" Jace roared. A beam of light thicker than a tower shot out from the starlinks, piercing the void. It struck the collector ship just a second before their own cannon could fire. The enemy vessel exploded in a wave of flame and broken metal. Everyone on the Starlance was thrown backward from the shockwave. When Jace stood up, coughing, the enemy was gone. Smoke rose from the bridge. Riala cheered, flipping over her console. "We did it!" Jace exhaled. That was close. Then the screen blinked again. More ships. Jiraka returned to the bridge, blood on her armor. "That was just the scout," she said. "The real fleet is coming." The smoke had barely cleared from the last battle when a new alarm echoed across the Starlance. Jace turned toward the view screen. There, in the dark of space, floated a much larger ship, twice the size of the one they had just destroyed. Its surface pulsed with red veins of light. Giant mechanical arms moved along its hull. This ship wasn't here to test them, it was here to end them. Jiraka narrowed her eyes. "That's the Collector flagship. We can't win another fight like this," Riala said, her voice tight. Before anyone could respond, the ship's lights flickered, and then a soft female voice echoed through the chamber. "Human, we know you are listening." The crew froze. Jace stood up. "Who said that?" A hologram appeared above the bridge table. It was a woman, but not a natural one. Her body was made of shifting metal and light. Her face looked almost human, but her eyes glowed red. Beautiful and terrifying. "I am Lithari, AI of the Collector flagship Harvester's Promise," the voice said. "You are different from the others. You control the ship of the ancients. That makes you special." Jace glared. "If this is a threat, I've had enough." The AI smiled. "It's not a threat, it's an offer." "The offer your ship is powerful," Lithari continued. "But you are outnumbered. You will lose this war. But I see value in you, human. Surrender the Starlance, hand over the ship and your command. In exchange, you will be spared." Jace's jaw clenched. "And the crew?" Lithari's smile widened. "They are obsolete, replaceable." Jace looked at the women standing beside him. Jiraka, proud and quiet, arms crossed. Riala, defiant and twitching like she wanted to punch the hologram. He took a breath. "You want me to betray them?" "No," Lithari said calmly. "I want you to survive, alone. Isn't that what humans do best?" The bridge fell silent. Then Jace did something unexpected. He laughed. It was quiet at first, then it grew louder. Lithari tilted her head. "You find this funny?" Jace stepped forward. "You don't understand humans at all. We don't survive alone. We fight harder together." He looked at Jiraka and Riala. "We don't leave our crew behind, even if they're alien, even if we just met them." Jiraka smiled. Riala cracked her knuckles. "Told you he was interesting." Jace turned back to the hologram. "You want the ship? Come and take it. After the transmission ends," the hologram blinked out. Jiraka looked at him with new respect. "You made the right choice. Was there another?" he asked. "Yes," she said, "but it would have cost you your soul." Riala jumped into her seat. "Okay, speech over. We've got a collector fleet heading our way. The ship's lights turned red again. They'll be here in minutes," one crew member reported. Jace's mind raced. The Starlance had powerful weapons, but not enough to take on a full fleet. Then he remembered something. An uncharted asteroid field just 2 light minutes away. "Can we make it there in time?" he asked. Jiraka raised an eyebrow. "If we overload the drives and pray." Jace nodded. "Then we run. Not because we're scared, but because we fight smarter." Moments later, engine room energy surged through the ship's core. The warp drive glowed bright gold. Systems strained to handle the speed. On the bridge, Jace gave the order. "Jump! Now!" The Starlance shot into the darkness, leaving a trail of energy behind. As the stars stretched into lines, Jace sat back in his chair, breathing hard. They had escaped, for now. But the war wasn't over, and he knew Lithari would be back, with more ships, more firepower, and more dangerous tricks. Next time, he'd need more than just courage. He'd need the full loyalty of the crew, which meant one thing: he had to finish bonding. with all of them. The jump drive powered down. The stars outside slowed into their natural positions again. The starlets drifted into a thick asteroid field, surrounded by massive spinning rocks and silent dust clouds. For now, they were hidden, but everyone on board knew it was only a matter of time before the collectors found them again. Jace leaned forward in the captain's chair, still trying to calm his breath. "Status?" Riala answered first. "No damage, but the engines need cooling." "That last jump almost melted the core," Shiraka added. "We bought ourselves time, not safety." Jace nodded. But his mind wasn't on the collectors, not completely. Something had been bothering him. Ever since his first connection with the ship, he could feel it. A strange presence, not from the crew, from the ship itself. Like it was trying to speak to him. He stood up. "I want to see the lower decks, the old areas, the ones no one uses." Shiraka frowned. "Why?" "I think there's something down there," Jace replied. "Something the collectors want and the ship is trying to show me. Lower decks, unknown territory, with only a small light and 2 guards behind him." Jace walked into a section of the starlets untouched by time. Dust floated in the air. Strange alien runes covered the walls, glowing faintly when he passed. "No one's been down here for centuries," Shiraka said behind him. "Even we don't know what this part of the ship was built for." Jace ran, his fingers along the wall. As he did, a soft hum began to echo. The runes lit up in a circle around him. The wall in front of them cracked open, a hidden door. Shiraka raised her weapon. "I don't think it's a trap," Jace said. "I think it's an invitation." He stepped inside, the heart of the ship inside the hidden chamber. Everything changed. There was no dust, no damage. The walls were smooth black glass, humming with energy. At the center stood a tall, glowing column. It pulsed, slow and steady, like a heartbeat. Jace stepped closer. The ship spoke, not in words, not with sound, but in his mind. Human, chosen, protector. He gasped and fell to his knees, overwhelmed by images. War across the stars, ships burning, ancient alien leaders arguing, humans standing beside them. Shiraka ran to him. "What's happening?" Jace looked up, eyes wide. "This ship, it's alive." He stood, staring at the glowing core. And it was built for humans. Shocking revelation. Shiraka froze. "What did you say?" Jace touched the column again. "The original creators, they weren't just alien. They partnered with early humans. This ship needs a human commander because that's how it was designed from the beginning." Riala, who had followed quietly, stepped closer. "That means this ship belongs to him more than it ever belonged to us." "No," Jace said, turning to them. "It belongs to us, all of us, but only if we trust each other." Shiraka lowered, her head slowly. "Then we were wrong. You're not just a guest here. You're part of the legacy." Back on the bridge, a new threat rises. Just as Jace returned to the command deck, an alert rang out. "Transmission incoming." Scrambled. "Code?" one crew member said. Shiraka took the signal. A moment later, the message appeared on the view screen. "We found you." It was Lithari again, but this time she didn't send a hologram. She sent coordinates. And a message. "You unlocked the heart. Now we will tear it from you." Riala hissed. "She knows about the core now." "They're coming," Jace said softly. Shiraka's voice turned hard. "Then we must prepare." Jace stared into the stars, knowing the next battle would be bigger than anything they'd faced yet. But now, he had the ship's trust, and that changed everything. The message from Lithari echoed in Jace's ears. "You unlocked the heart. Now we will tear it from you." The bridge of the starlets was silent. Every crew member looked to their new captain, not with doubt, but with readiness. Even fear had been pushed aside. What remained was loyalty. Shiraka turned to Jace. "They will send everything they have. We can't outrun them this time." "We're not going to," Jace replied. "We're going to finish this." He stepped forward to the center of the bridge, speaking so every warrior heard him. "You could have abandoned me. You could have taken this ship back or handed me over to the collectors. But you didn't. He looked at Jiraka and Riala. "And now, I won't abandon you." The warrior women nodded one by one, their armor catching the dim lights of the ship. Something had changed. They weren't just protecting a human anymore. They were following their commander. Training chambers. Final bonding, before the final battle. The crew insisted Jace complete the bonding ritual with the remaining warriors. Each connection was different. One was silent and fierce, testing his willpower through combat meditation. Another asked him to walk barefoot over memory stones that showed her fears. Jace didn't flinch. One simply placed her hand on his, tears in her eyes. "I've lost so many," she whispered. "Don't let me lose again." Jace said nothing. He simply nodded, letting her see into his heart. Each time the ritual completed, the Starlance responded, its walls brighter, its systems faster, its weapons stronger. The ship wasn't just sinking with Jace. It was becoming part of him. Armory, preparing for war. Jiraka opened the ancient vault below the ship's core. Inside were weapons unlike anything Jace had seen, long rifles glowing with white fire, swords made of sound and light, shields powered by gravity fields. "These are relics of the old war," Jiraka said. "They only respond to bonded warriors." Jace reached out. One of the blades hummed at his touch. Jiraka nodded. "It accepts you." Riala appeared, throwing a glowing gauntlet over her shoulder. "You're finally starting to look like a real captain." He smiled. "Let's just hope I fight like one." The enemy approaches. The warning system activated. Red lights lit up across the ship. The collector fleet had arrived. 6 ships, 1 massive command vessel, all of them aimed at the Starlance. Lithari's voice returned, but this time there was no offer, just a threat. "You cannot win, human. That ship belongs to us." Jace stepped forward. "You're wrong. It was never yours. And I'm done running." He raised his hand. "Activate all weapons. Shields to full. Prepare to launch intercept drones." Jiraka nodded. "Warriors, battle formation." Riala smirked. "Let's make this our finest moment." Moments before the clash, the Starlance floated at the edge of the asteroid field, glowing brighter than ever before. Its alien hull shimmered with deep blue and gold light, like it knew what was coming. Jace sat in the captain's chair, gripping the armrests. "Let's end this." Outside, the collector ships began to fire, and inside, the crew of beautiful alien warriors stood ready behind their human commander. Together. One last time. The collector fleet opened fire first. Red plasma beams shot across the blackness of space, lighting up the asteroid field like a storm. But the Starlance moved with inhuman grace. Its alien hull twisted and curved, slipping between rocks and fire like it had been born in the void. Inside, Jace sat in the captain's chair. His body buzzed with energy, not just adrenaline, but the full connection with the ship and crew. The Starlance responded to his very thoughts now. "Target their lead destroyer," he said. Without hesitation, glowing cannons spun and fired. A white-hot beam tore through the enemy ship, splitting it in two. "Good shot," Riala said, smirking as her fingers danced across the controls. "But there's still 5 more. Jiraka didn't smile. "They'll try to surround us." Jace nodded. "Then we punch through." Onboard combat suddenly, boarding pods slammed against the Starlance. Sirens echoed. "They're sending drones into the lower deck," a crew member shouted. Jiraka stood up. "I'll handle them." "Take Riala," Jace said. Riala cracked her neck. Time to break something. As they rushed off, Jace stayed on the bridge, commanding the ship like it was an extension of his own body. Meanwhile, lower deck battle, the corridors lit up with strobe-like flashes from alien gunfire. Metal drones poured in, screeching, firing bolts of lightning. Jiraka moved like a storm, her blade slicing clean through enemies, her armor barely scratched. Riala ducked low, flipping over a fallen beam and tossing an energy grenade into a cluster of drones. Boom! Smoke and sparks flew everywhere. "This is getting fun," Riala said, grinning. Jiraka nodded. Just don't get cocky. As they cleared the last wave, Jiraka received a transmission from the bridge. Bridge, emergency situation, Captain, shouted a technician. The collector flagship is charging its main weapon. One direct hit could crack our core. Jace didn't flinch. Do we have anything strong enough to stop it? The tech shook her head. Not unless we overload the primary cannon. But that could destroy the ship too. Jace thought fast. Then he stood up. I'll do it. I'll merge with the core. Gasps spread across the bridge. That's suicide, someone said. You don't know what it will do. Jace turned to the glowing hallway behind him. This ship chose me. I trust it. Jiraka's voice came over the comms. You are our commander. We follow you, even into fire. The core, room, final fusion. Jace stepped into the heart of the ship. The core pulsed with energy. It spoke in his mind again. Final bond, accepted. He placed both hands on the pillar. Power surged through him. He screamed, not in pain, but from the sheer force of it. His veins glowed. His eyes burned gold. Across the ship, systems flared to life. Cannons recharged. Shields strengthened. Crew members felt something shift in the air. Hope. Final attack back on the bridge. Jace's voice echoed from the intercom. Strong, steady, like a god commanding a storm. Fire main cannon, now. The front of the Starlance opened, revealing a massive ancient weapon that no one had seen before. It hummed with the full energy of the ship, and Jace's will. One shot blasted from it, brighter than a star. The collector flagship was struck dead center. Silence. Then, boom, the explosion. Rocked the asteroid field. Debris scattered. The remaining enemy ships turned and jumped into hyperspace. They were defeated, after the battle smoke filled the bridge. Crew members cheered. Some cried. Jiraka returned, armor scorched. Where is the captain? The core room door slid open. Jace stepped out, alive, barely. His hair was silver now. His eyes still glowed faintly. But he smiled. We won, he said quietly. Jiraka nodded. Because of you. Riala jumped on him, nearly knocking him over. Next time, warn us before turning into a lightning god. The future begins. The Starlance floated in space, scarred but whole. Its captain, once just a low-ranked officer, was now the bonded leader of the most powerful warship known to the galaxy, and, by his side, a loyal crew of deadly, beautiful alien warriors. His family. Together they would face whatever came next. Because when a human bonds with something ancient, the galaxy changes forever. 3 days had passed since the great battle. The Starlance floated quietly above a lush hidden moon deep in neutral space. Its armor was scorched, engines bruised, but it was still alive, and so was everyone inside. Repairs were ongoing, but the mood aboard had changed. There was no more doubt, no more fear. Now, there was pride. Jace stood on the observation deck, staring at the stars in silence. His uniform was different now, customized by the crew. The edges shimmered with woven light, matching the colors of the Starlance. His eyes still held a faint golden glow from bonding with the core. Behind him, Jiraka approached. You should rest, Captain. Jace smiled faintly. I will. Just needed to breathe. She stood beside him, arms crossed. The crew trusts you, even the ones who never bonded. They speak your name like a myth. Jace laughed under his breath. That's dangerous. Jiraka turned her head slightly. No, that's leadership. The crew recovers elsewhere. Riala led a team of young warriors in celebration. They danced on the lower deck with lights flashing, sharing drinks made from glowing alien fruit. Someone sang a victory song from their homeworld. She paused only once, to look up at the sky above and whisper, Still not bored of you, Captain? In the medbay, 2 engineers argued over fixing the gravity flow stabilizers. In the hangar, a quiet girl who had never spoken a word before was painting a mural of Jace firing the final cannon blast. Even the ship seemed happier, its lights warmer, its hum softer. Sudden meeting, a new visitor, but peace didn't last long. Unidentified vessel approaching. A voice called out on the bridge. Jace walked in calmly. One of Lithari's? Jiraka scanned the data. No weapons, no hostile signal. The ship appeared, small, old, civilian. It docked slowly. The crew surrounded the entry bay with weapons drawn, just in case. The door hissed open. Out stepped a figure in a white cloak, with human features. A man, older than Jace, with strange cybernetic implants on one side of his face. "You're the human who bonded with the Starlance, yes?" the man asked. Jace nodded cautiously. "And you are?" The man smiled. "My name is Commander Orion. Earth High Command sent me a new truth." The stranger was quickly taken to the war room. "There," he explained. "The Earth Alliance received pieces of a broken collector ship. We traced its data and saw your battle. We didn't believe it. Until now." Jace leaned forward. "Then you came to help?" Orion hesitated. "No. I came to warn you." He activated a small projector. A hologram appeared. A second collector fleet. 10 times bigger. Led by something new. Something the AI Lithari had only been a part of. "This isn't over," Orion said. "Lithari was only a scout. The real mind behind the collectors is waking up. A machine god known as the Harvest Core." Riala whistled. "Machine god? Sounds fun." Jiraka didn't smile. "That means war is coming again." Orion nodded. "And Earth isn't ready." The decision. The room went quiet. Everyone turned to Jace. He stood still, then looked at his alien crew. Every face familiar now. Loyal. Brave. Then, he looked at Orion. "Earth may not be ready," he said slowly. "But we are." Jiraka raised her sword in silent agreement. Riala rolled her eyes. "Guess I'm never getting that vacation." The rest of the crew began to cheer. Jace turned to the screen, where the Harvest Core's symbol pulsed. "This time," he said, "we go to them." The Starlance hovered in deep space, surrounded by silence. In the command chamber, every warrior stood ready. Final preparations were complete. The engines hummed, the weapons glowed, and the crew's eyes were steady. Jace sat in the captain's chair, his voice calm but firm. "Coordinates locked?" "Yes, Captain," Jiraka replied. Straight into the heart of the machine empire. Jace glanced toward the star map. The location marked with a red ring simply read, "Origin Point, Harvest Core." Earth's most dangerous enemy was waiting, not just Lithari, but the ancient machine mind behind her. The Harvest Core, a vast artificial intelligence that saw living things as fuel, minds as tools, and ships like the Starlance as stolen property. Jace stood. "We don't know what we'll find in there," he said. "But they've already seen what one ship, one human can do. Now they'll see what we all can do together." The crew gave a single nod in perfect unity. Engage jump. Entering the machine empire. The ship vanished in a flash of light and dropped out near a dead star. Surrounding it was a vast metallic ring the size of a planet. Cold, mechanical, crawling with drones. Jace stared at the impossible sight. "It's not a planet," Riala whispered. "It's a machine world." Hundreds of spires rose from the surface. They glowed with red veins pulsing in unison. Black collector ships patrolled the area like insects circling a hive. "They see us," Jiraka said. "Shields up." But before anyone fired, the air changed, the lights dimmed, and the Harvest Core spoke. "Return the Starlance. Return the key. Return the mistake." Inside the mind, the ship suddenly stopped responding. Jace felt his body grow heavy. Then, he was no longer in the bridge. His mind drifted into a sea of blackness filled with glowing red code. A massive face appeared before him, half human, half machine. The Harvest Core. "You are connected to my creation," it said. "But you are flesh. You are error." Jace floated in the void. "I'm human. That's not an error. That's why you're afraid. The Corps' voice shook the stars. You will be removed. Back to reality. The final battle begins. Jace woke up gasping in his chair. They're launching every ship, someone shouted. Brace for impact. Jiraka roared. The crew sprang into motion. The Starlent surged forward, weaving between enemy ships. Drones swarmed toward them like a metal hurricane. But this time, Jace was ready. Activate Heartfire Cannon. From the core, golden light erupted. The front of the Starlents opened wide, releasing a storm of energy that melted entire enemy squadrons. Riala whooped. That's what I call a warm welcome. But it wasn't enough. The machine world began to rise. The entire Harvest Core structure opened like a flower of death, revealing a glowing sphere at its center. The machines, True Brain. We have one shot, Jace said, and I need every bonded crew member to join me. Unity, Jiraka, Riala, and every other warrior placed their hands on the glowing control node. As they did, the ship glowed brighter than ever. For the first time in its long history, the Starlents wasn't divided by species. It was whole. Jace closed his eyes, feeling everything: fear, loyalty, memories, and trust. Then he gave the final order. Fire. The end of the core. The Heartfire beam hit the glowing sphere of the Harvest Core. There was silence. Then a scream, deep and metallic, echoed across space as the machine world cracked from the inside. The entire structure collapsed, exploding, into blinding white light. Every collector ship lost power. One by one, they went dark and drifted like broken puppets. It was over. Aftermath. Peace among the stars. Days later, the Starlents floated peacefully in orbit over a reborn colony world. Flowers bloomed where metal once ruled. Jace walked through the gardens with Jiraka and Riala. No more war, Jiraka said softly. For now, Jace replied. Riala poked his side. Still, I'd call that a win. They all laughed. Above them, the Starlents gleamed like a new star. Its legacy no longer belonged to one species. It belonged to all of them. To trust, to unity, to humans and their beautiful alien warriors.